So, what does the town supervisor do? And according to state law, the town supervisor is a number of things. Number one, the chief executive and administrative officer, with a caveat. The CEO means chief executive officer. The problem is that the town supervisor actually has zero executive authority. I have no executive authority that is given to me the same way the mayor of the city of Rochester or the county executive has. There's an actual executive branch that the county executive has authority over, and then there's a legislative branch, the judicial branch. I'm simply one of 5 board members that are a legislative body. That legislative body is also the executor. So they decide what executive authority I have as really the manager of the town. I really manage the initiatives that they put forth, but I'm 20% of the vote. So as weird as it is to say, I am not I don't have this executive authority that I think people think that I have to just go wave a magic wand and get things done. I have to work with the board and make sure that what we're proposing is mutually agreed upon. At least majority, 3 out of 5 have to vote a certain way in order for things to move forward. So there's that. I am the presiding officer of the town board. That means that I get to be the chairman of the board, to lead the board, propose things, and so forth. I'm the chief fiscal officer and treasurer. So the financial weight is on me to manage. Again, the board has to approve every single spend ask, every check, every penny spent, the board approves. Now, obviously, a lot of this gets kind of transferred to our finance director. I basically appoint them to take on the majority of this task, and then I have oversight and authority over it. I'm also the budget preparation and financial management person, and then there's some other duties, like I oversee all the department heads, personnel, serve as a town representative. I get to sign and execute contracts, but only with the board's permission. So you see where this is going. What's really also interesting is that in the town of Ogden, we equally have an elected town clerk and an elected highway superintendent. So while I do manage the budgets, I have no authority over the management of the highway department. I equally have no management over the clerk's office. So separately elected officials elected to those specific departments. And I think that's something that people don't fully understand either. On top of that, getting away from elected positions, the library in Ogden here, the Ogden Farmers Library, we actually do not have any jurisdiction over the library. We do fund the library, probably 95% of the library we fund. So we do raise taxes, and out of the taxes that you pay, that I pay, we simply write a check to the library, and then they have their own governance. They have their own board of directors. They have their own director who manages the library. And we do work in great collaboration. But there was somebody that had said recently, we had posted about a new bookstore here in town, and somebody had posted, well, I hope you don't, get rid of the books that you got rid of in the library. And I said, first of all, I've never once requested that a book be removed from the public library. And second of all, there's no authority that I have for them to remove it anyways. So again, just, people having this idea that we control all this stuff, and we don't. There's actually one other department that I do not manage, and that's the courts. So when the courts end up being closed, or they cancel a court date or something like that, they actually call the clerk's office, they call my office, they call everybody else. We do not control the courts, the court dates, the arraignments. We have no jurisdiction over that. That is, again, the judicial branch. Yes, they're in our building, just like the library is in our building, but they are managed by the elected judges that we have here in Ogden. So again, another one of those things that people reach out and they think we should be able to resolve any court questions. And the truth is it's just not in our jurisdiction. Another one is that there was one of the windstorms had taken place, and one of the residents reached out to me and asked if I could push back the garbage collection cycle. And the truth is the town does not collect garbage. I have no authority over the village's collection cycle. I don't know if this person was in the village or if they have like suburban disposal or waste management or something. I equally do not have any jurisdiction over what private entities do. So I don't call suburban disposal or waste management and tell them what they have to do. Private property is private property, and we don't really get, unless they're breaking a code or something like that. They're violating something that the town has put in as an ordinance. We don't have jurisdiction over those things. When I got back to the office after the senior center conversation, I got a letter, and it's an anonymous letter, which I already feel like instantly I don't know how to respond because they don't leave their address. But I want to read this to you, and it's just one of those things, right? This person writes, "Marijuana sales to minors, what? Question mark. Your newsletter doesn't make sense. What we voted on was to not have pot dispensary in Ogden. Yet there it is on Union next to Fowler's liquor store." I just talked about that. "How about an explanation on that to our voters? Don't matter who got paid off." Okay. I will be honest, I don't mind most of this minus the paid off thing. This comes up a lot to elected officials. The truth is that all of our financial records of who gets donations or whatever, it's all online. You can find it. We did not get a donation from this place, nor is that something that we tried to solicit. First of all, nobody voted on a pot dispensary. It was not up for a vote as it pertains to residents. So it was never voted on. Again, the town board did not allow for dispensaries in the town, but the village gets to supersede our ruling because they have their own governing body. So I'll sort of piggyback this off with there was an article that was done by one of the news channels on the Amazon facility. Some of the struggles that we've had with the one that's open. And someone had made a comment, something about, lining people's pockets. And I just take great exception to that. I really, really do. There's so many, negative things that can be said. And that one just really, that really gets at me because, again, all of our financials are online. And the truth is like, it's kind of a weird juxtaposition, right? So the Amazon facility was rezoned well before myself or any of the board members were in office. It was, and the Amazon project was approved. Not only was it approved by the planning board, but it was approved by the county. The county is the one that gave them the tax abatement. The town doesn't get any say in that. That's something I would like to see changed. I think we need to have a seat at the table. So a little bit of a tangent, but at the end of the day, I think it's also important for people to understand that if somebody buys a piece of land and it is zoned appropriately, the town doesn't get to then deny the application based on we just don't want that. If we have a commercial property and Burger King wants to come in and the town residents say, well, we'd rather have a Wendy's, right? We actually don't get to decide that. We really don't. If Burger King wants to invest in town, then they're the ones that want to invest in town. And if their building and their operation meets code and meets the proper zoning, they have every right to come in and to build. This is going to come up quite a bit when the Walgreens Plaza starts to be developed. That piece of property has been zoned commercial for decades. If it's been 20 years, it's been 40 years that's been zoned commercial. And it's only been recent that a developer is starting to develop. It's been purchased a long time ago. Wegmans used to own it. They bought it from a farmer. And, you get these people that come up and say, well, we want it to stay farmland. And I get that, totally understand that. but the farmer sold it to a developer, and the developer paid money for the purposes of development, and the town doesn't get involved in that sale. That sale happens. That is two people, two businesses coming to a contract and an agreement for payment, and the town doesn't even sign off on that. We have nothing to do with the sale of property like that. All we get to do is to make sure that they're following code as it relates to the proper zoning in that area. And I think a lot of people think that we can just stop those types of projects, and we really can't. That's really not something that is within the jurisdiction of the town. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was educational for you. I hope that you're here to learn more and more about town government and operations, because the next one that I do is going to be really, really meaningful. I think it'll go a long way to helping us understand just how a construction project can go from start to finish and come to full fruition. So hopefully you'll join us in the very next video, and I hope to see you then. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.